Let us understand the final function of management, controlling. Well, how do we reach to controlling and why controlling is important? Let us go through the background. See, every management cycle starts with planning. So management first decide what to do. It sets the objective, what to do, when to do, how much to do. Once planning is done, now they do organizing. So they categorize the activities and create organizational structure, identify resources. Then, once planning and organizing is done, now in order to perform the activity, you need to have people. So they do what? Staffing. So staffing is basically recruiting the people, the skilled personnel to achieve the predefined goal. So once you know you have planned, now you have organized everything and you have people to do it. But unless until you give them directions, they'll not start working. So directing is the next task, where proper guidelines are given, instructions are given. Once the employees or the staff is directed for doing work, now there are a lot of activities where there is interdependence. So synchronization of all activities, harmonization of all activities is done through coordinating. But after all this, still there is one important function left, that is controlling. Well, controlling ensures that all the activities are performed as per plan. So without control, there are likely chances that all activities go haywire. There are a lot of vestiges, delays can happen since there is no control on the actual performance. So control does what? Control measures actual performance. And it compares with the standard. If there is any discrepancies, it identifies the issues, reasons why there are deviations, discrepancies, and it gives you reasons, remedies, actions to be taken to handle those deviations. And once those deviations are handled with proper remedies, then you again set to standards. Now, all these activities are part of controlling. So, controlling basically deals with identifying and comparing actual performance with the standard ones. Now, the effectiveness of planning is largely depends on the effectiveness of the controlling function. Understand, controlling is needed in all sort of organization, whether it's a profit or non-profit organization. In fact, it is needed everywhere, every level in an organization, that is top level, medium level or bottom level, right? So controlling is needed everywhere in the organization. Planning and controlling are the essential parts of management cycle. Understand, controlling is indispensable part of the whole management cycle. Well, let us first identify, let's understand how controlling is important. I'll give an example. If there is no control, what will happen? There is a huge amount of money unnecessary spent on purchasing. Huge amount of employees are recruited more than what is needed. Huge amount of money spent on advertisement just to ensure that sales will boost up. But is it necessary? So there has to be control on all the activities, not only at bottom level, medium level, but top level. Hence controlling decides the effectiveness of planning. So how do we control the all activities? Well, there is a set of action plan. Understand, for every activity, we decide a standard. A set of determined standard has been established. So what we do in controlling, we first measure the actual performance. Obviously, we have a set of standard and we measure the actual performance. Naturally, what we do, we compare. So what do we understand? That there are deviations, discrepancies, changes in standard and actual. According to us, the standard performance has to be 20 products to be produced and actually happening 10. So there is a deviation. So first thing is setting up of standards, predetermined standard, then measuring actual performance, then finding the deviations, if any, discrepancies, changes, if any, in actual performance and predetermined set of standards. Now, once we identify some deviations, what we do? We go and identify and try to find the reasons why the deviations are occurring. And once we identify the reasons why the deviations are there, we take remedial actions. We take steps to handle those deviations. Once those deviations are handled, then appropriate steps are taken to re-establish the standards. And this process is always continuous and gradual. Well, let us take an example how this whole steps of actual process works. And controlling helps in achieving the plan objectives. Let's say I have got order of 1000 kgs of production to be done in 30 days. So I have 10 employees. 10 employees, 1000 kgs, one employee, 100 kg. Right? So according to us, the standard is established that one employee in a month will produce what? 100 kgs, which means on a day, on an average, 3.3 kgs of production has been done by every individual employees. Now, that's our standard has been set, that in a month we need to finish this. But what we understand that the employee is only producing what? 2 kg per day. Now, what do I understand? That expected is 3.33 kgs per day and he's producing 2 kgs. So are the predetermined standard and actual performance same? No, there is discrepancies, there are changes. Now how do we handle these deviations? We identify the reasons. Then we realize that the machines we are using are outdated. What will we do? Yes, we'll immediately raise a purchase request to purchase department for latest machineries. What has happened? As soon as the latest machineries have arrived, now the output has gone from 2 kg per day to 5 kg per day. Automatically my standards of production have changed. Right? Now understand, with controlling activities, we understand future course of action. So we understood, okay, this time has arisen where we need to buy now latest machineries. So with controlling techniques, we identify the whole process and identify the future course of action. Yes, controlling decides the effectiveness of planning. Let us take one more example of controlling. I hope you'll understand. See, in this video editing project, so I have a video editing team, right? So we have decided to edit at least 5 minutes of video per day. So every editor will edit 5 minutes of videos, quality, error-free videos per day, right? That's a set of standard. We have a predetermined standard. But actually, when it comes to an OCM project, we identify that only 2.5 minutes of video is being edited in a day. Now, there is a huge discrepancies. There is deviation. Every editor is working half of the expected potential. So we sat down and tried to identify the reason. What are the reasons? Then we realized that in case of OC, there are a lot of things happens. There is a huge load on rendering and a lot of effects has to be given in OC. So because of that, what happens? The processor or the computer takes hell lot of time to process the things. So we identify the delay is not because of the skills are weak or the employees or editors are lazy, but the time required by the hardware. So what we do? Once we identify the reasons, we upgraded all our computers to higher upgradation. Now what has happened? Now each editor started editing around 5 to 6 minutes of editing. So automatically they achieve the predetermined standard and the whole process is now continuing. So in nutshell summary, yes, controlling is an inseparable, indispensable task of management function. Well, controlling is needed at all sort of organization, whether it's profit organization or non-profit organization. In fact, controlling is needed across the organization at various level, bottom level, medium level, or top level of the management. Well, effectiveness of planning is largely dependent on the effectiveness of controlling. Controlling has various steps. So controlling does what? First, there are predetermined set of standards. From there, we measure actual performance of the activity. Then we naturally try to identify if there are any deviations or discrepancies or changes in predetermined set of standards and actual performance. If there are any deviations or changes, then we try to identify the reasons or causes of these deviations. Once we identify the reasons and causes, we take remedial actions. These remedial actions also sometimes helps us taking future course of actions. A lot of future management decisions are based on this. And once we take those remedial actions, again, we try to assess the whole process and try to re-establish the predetermined standard. And this process is keep on going. Hence, controlling and planning are a very important part of management function.